Well, sir, young Russell has just this moment arrived home from school as we enter the small house halfway up in the next block now. And he's walking towards the living room where he's been attracted by the sound of familiar voices. Listen.
Uncle Fletcher in the living room, Harvey?
Yes, he's here. Is it raining now?
Not yet. I just bumped into Mr. Donner out in the alley, and he thinks it'll snow.
Uncle Fletcher thinks that, too.
Afternoon, Russell, honey.
Afternoon, Uncle Fletcher.
How are you today?
First rate, thanks. I keep about average.
You home for good?
Yeah, I guess so. Us guys figured the weather's too uncertain to start up any games in Tappan's vacant lot. And then Oyster Cracker's got to go take his violin lesson, and Raymond Searles has to run an errand for his grandma, and Bluetooth Johnson said...
Well, if you do decide to sneak off, come and holler first. There's a little boy that has to walk to the grocery store and bring...
Virgil dejectedly, Sadie.
Huh?
Virgil dejectedly.
Oh, sure. Russell, Uncle Fletcher was in the middle of a story when you come in. Finish that story, Uncle Fletcher.
Why? Well, I believe I was at the place where he...
Where he changed his name so he could have the initials in his hat replaced.
That's right. Well, this Virgil dejectedly, Russell, honey, was a brother to Roy dejectedly. Likely you've heard me mention Roy dejectedly.
Oh, lots of times. He's a Dixon man.
Dixon man. He catches on, Sadie.
Uh-huh.
He catches on now that Virgil dejectedly is brother to Roy dejectedly.
Uh-huh. Virgil kept changing his name so he could take his hat downtown and get different initials put in it.
Why?
Beg pardon, Russell, honey?
He wonders why Virgil dejectedly did that. I wonder myself.
He wonders why Virgil dejectedly did what, Sadie?
Changed his name every few days.
So he could take his hat downtown and get different initials put in it.
Why?
It gave him something to do with his time. Kept him occupied.
Oh, my.
You see, Virgil dejectedly was a wealthy man. Never had to work. He had a weekly income off in his investments that yielded him close to $20. No lame brain's going to go get a job and sweat over a pick and shovel if they got $20 rolling in every Saturday.
No, I guess not.
Virgil always had a good head on his shoulders, so he thought up this method of putting in the time.
Change his name so he could alter the initials in his hat.
You grasp it.
And didn't the fellow in the clothing store get sick and
Virgil would wake up of a morning, and while he was sitting on the edge of his bed putting on his shoes, he'd yawn and say, I believe I'll change my name to Williamson today, George Williamson. And then he'd have breakfast and mosey on down to the haberdasher's. You see, maybe the day before his name had been Harry J. Cronk, so the haberdasher'd have to put a complete new set of initials in his hat.
Oh, yes.
And didn't the haberdasher get darn sick and tired of always switching the initials in the hat?
Well, yes, he did. For many years he'd give the service free. Pretty grumpy about it, of course, but finally, in 1909, I believe it was, he grabbed Virgil by the collar and he says, Look, Virg, he says, enough is enough. After this, I'm charging you a quarter for this foolishness. Well, sir, I understand Virgil screamed like a panther and threatened to shoot the haberdasher and everything else. But the haberdasher was mad.
Hi, Bob.
Well, everybody home, huh? Greetings, Uncle Fletcher.
Afternoon, Vic, honey.
Raining out yet?
I'll bet down there it's going to snow directly.
I hope so. I'm very anxious
I was just
to get
telling Sadie here in Russell, Vic, about Virgil dejectedly. Virgil dejectedly, you may or may not know, his brother...
Is that a fact? Say, I'm going to run up to Wisconsin.
Oh?
You'll marvel at the story I have to tell.
Will I?
Virgil dejectedly, Vic, was a wealthy man.
Oh, I know it.
Remember now, Vic, this ain't Roy dejectedly I'm talking about. It's Virgil dejectedly.
Yes, sure. Storm window, go to the bookcase and fetch me the atlas.
Atlas?
My book of maps. You know what an atlas is.
Oh.
I want to look up Sweet Esther.
Sweet Esther.
That's the town in Wisconsin I'm going to. Sweet Esther. I'm not sure exactly where it's located. That's why I need the map.
Roy dejectedly, Vic, is the Dixon fella. He's the one you know. Virgil dejectedly lives in Winona, Minnesota. I don't believe you ever met Virgil.
I never did. But I want to, though. I want to take him by the hand and the two of us stroll together in the orchard.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what's going on at this place?
You'll never believe the distance the long arm of coincidence can reach.
Do you know Art dejectedly, Vic?
Yes.
Where does he live?
Lives in anti-disestablishmentarianism, Ohio.
He does not. Art dejectedly lives in Boo, Kentucky.
Boo, Kentucky is a suburb of anti-disestablishmentarianism, Ohio.
It is not. It ain't any such dimwit thing, any numbskull suburb of any lame brain.
Just teasing, Uncle Fletcher. Don't pay any attention to him.
I'm kind of excited, Uncle Fletcher. See, I'm going on a little trip.
I know Boo, Kentucky's not any fat-headed suburb of...
Oh, of course not. I guess I cracked a pretty funk joke. Forgive me, fella. Is that the atlas?
It's the book of maps. It's the
Well,
book
look up Wisconsin and try to locate the town of Sweet Esther.
Okay.
Is this a business trip?
It's business, pleasure, thrills, and excitement all rolled up into one.
To begin with, the population of Sweet Esther, Wisconsin has a parade every day.
Parade every day?
Sure. I've heard about it all my life. Being an enthusiast over parades, it's natural that I would have heard of Sweet Esther, Wisconsin, where everybody marches down Main Street every day in the year.
Sam dejectedly lives in the odd jump North Dakota.
But what's the idea?
It's a town tradition. Like in Holland, Michigan, where they wash the street every year. Or like in New Orleans, Louisiana, where they have their Mardi Gras. Town tradition.
The Sweet Esther Golf is between Port Washington and Waukesha.
Huh? Let's see.
Right here by my finger.
Pete dejectedly lives in Halter, Tennessee.
Oh, does he?
Yes, Pete's married a woman 17 years old who went into the hay and grain business. Invented a combination buggy whip.
Oh, this is it. Look, Steve. Sweet Esther, Wisconsin. It's between Port Washington and Waukesha.
Oyster Cracker's cousin Lombard.
See, it's way up past Chicago there. I'll probably have to change cars in Milwaukee. Give me your pencil, Jeanette. I want to draw a ring around it.
Yeah. Oh, you said you were going on business and pleasure?
Yes, the Consolidated Kickswear Company sending me up to see a man's concern. See, I drew a nice circle with my lead pencil around the town.
Oh, somebody's talking kind of silly. Don't you think so, Uncle Fletcher?
Beg pardon, Sadie?
I say somebody's talking kind of silly.
Yes.
Don't be mean to me, people.
Harry dejectedly lives in Hammond, Indiana.
That's a beautiful city.
Yes, and Harry dejectedly married a Hammond, Indiana girl. He married this Hammond, Indiana girl.
There's a little paragraph here about Sweet Esther.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Listen to the little paragraph, Dave.
Yes,
Many tourists annually visit the village of Sweet Esther near Waukesha and bathe in the beautiful waters. I can take a bath.
Probably need one.
What'd you say, Uncle Fletcher?
I don't know.
Did I understand you to observe that I could use a bath?
Oh, ish, goodness, what kind of craziness is this? Vic, you say the company's sending you on business. Well, where does the pleasure and thrills come in?
The parade. The daily parade. Every morning the townspeople have a parade. You know how I love parades. And kiddo, hey. Sweet Esther, Wisconsin is a spot of historic and beautiful significance to the lodge.
Is it?
It was in Sweet Esther, Wisconsin that our beloved founder, R.J. Kunk, had his eyes turned blue.
Eyes turned blue?
He went to bed one night in the year 1899 at the Royal Gum Hotel in Sweet Esther and woke up the next morning to find his eyes had changed to a brilliant electric blue.
And what color were they before?
A watery drab slate.
Sounds pretty.
And so the city of Sweet Esther has been more or less of a shrine to Sky Brothers and the sacred stars of the Milky Way. A mecca, so to speak.
Paul dejectedly lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
3 years ago, E.W. Smith of Emporia, Kansas, went to Sweet Esther, Wisconsin, and stayed a month.
Wasn't that when he was laying low?
How you mean?
Well, he stole a horse and the police caught him, but he escaped and went to this place and laid low till the thing blew over.
I don't remember any such stories.
Well, you were the one who told me about it.
Well, at any rate, it is in Sweet Esther, Wisconsin, that R.J. Kunk, our beloved founder, had his eyes turned overnight from a thick, watery, drab slate color to a brilliant, blazing, stunning electric blue.
Charlie dejectedly lives in Philadelphia.
I'm going upstairs, people.
What for?
Check over my lodge regalia. I'm most likely to take it to Wisconsin with me.
Oh, when are you going to Wisconsin?
I don't know yet, but soon after the holidays is it convenient.
Oh.
So long, Uncle Fletcher. If you start home for supper before I come back downstairs.
What's he say?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Vic, honey.
Goodbye.
No, Russell, honey, Virgil dejectedly was a brother to Roy dejectedly.
Yeah.
And Virgil dejectedly lived in Winona, Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
Changed his name almost every day in order to go downtown to the haberdasher's and have him put no initials in his hat. Just give Virgil something to do, something to occupy his time. Virgil would wake up in the morning, and while he was sitting on the edge of his bed putting on his shoes, he'd yawn and say, I believe I'll change my name to Williamson today.
Uh-huh.
George Williams.